Hi everyone, this is Carolina and today I'm going to show you how to put this flower together. It comes together quite quickly and it just adds so much to your cards. Look at all those layers. There's 3 layers and then on top is a little button. And I thought it would be fun to not only use it on a card, but to use it on a ponytail band, as you see here. And I actually created these for my niece's birthday, for the girls to have as little bracelets to put on their wristbands. And they're cute on the hair or on a card. And I'm going to go ahead and start off with this particular flower here. So to start off with, you're going to cut out 3 flowers using your Spellbinders Blossom die. And I used the 3 smaller ones. What you're going to do is place your pattern paper face down. So if you want this side or this side, then you're just going to go ahead and place it down because I did emboss it. I just thought it added a little something, so let me see if I can get a good picture of it here. See the embossing right there? When I go through and texturize it all, it's actually a good guide as well. So let me just take them all out, and then you can put those aside. You don't need them anymore. And I'm going to bring out my piercing mat. And the reason for this is what I'm going to use. Let me just start off with the big one here. And you're going to use, bring out your stylus too. I know there's some pointy ones. The one I'm using is from EK Success. And it has 2 points. It has this broader one and a thinner one. It's made out of metal. And it's just perfect. It's really ergonomically correct with the little band. And since you're going to be doing basically in a circle, and I'm using that embossing right there guide as my guide to go all the way around the flower. And instead of turning the flower so it kind of stays put, I just turn the mat. Let me go out a little bit here so you can see it better. And all I'm doing is doing circular motions all the way around. And as you can tell, the flower itself, on certain of the petals, it's actually starting to lift by itself already. And you're just going to keep going. Just don't make sure you don't press too hard because you could go through the paper, but enough of pressure that you are able to basically lift the petals as you're seeing me do here. And now I'm going to go towards the middle and just kind of, again, circular motions. Take your time with it. Definitely this is something you don't want to rush because if you kind of rush through it, you might actually pierce it and would hate for you to do that. Oops, let me bring this down. Okay, so then you're going to go ahead and do basically this to all 3 of your petals. And once you have all those done, we're going to go ahead and start adding some ink. I'm using the Tim Holtz Distress ink, the walnut stain, which is awesome. It adds such a great definition to any project. Using a dauber, and all I'm going to do is just go around the edges. As you see, I'm not even stamping off, no need. There's some places that are going to be a little darker than others. I don't mind. I kind of like that. But if you want it kind of universal throughout, then just go ahead and stamp off in between inking it or after inking it then before putting it to your paper. So continue doing that to all 3 of your petals, and once you're done with that, you can go ahead and put your ink away. I kind of just like to get it out of the way so I don't accidentally drop any of my things I'm working on them. So anyway, so go ahead and add some glue. I just added a little dab in the middle, and the reason I don't add it all the way around is because I like to basically play with the petals at this point, pinch them a little bit as I'm doing here, kind of bring them in, distress them even more. I'm not using any kind of tools, just my nails. If you don't have nails, you can even do it with your fingertips. It's also good to lift as I'm doing it here and just kind of go all the way around. You'll get an opportunity to do more of this later if you'd like, but I kind of just like to go as I do it as I go. It also gives it an opportunity for it to dry. Add a little more dab of glue to the middle and basically do the same thing. Just kind of crinkle it up with my fingernails here. Okay, and with that, you're pretty much done. You know, you can, again, do as much or as little as you like. I got a button that has a shank on it. It's actually one of the best ways to use a shank is just I added double-sided tape, as you see me do here. Remove the backing and then just add it to the middle of my flower. And with that, I am done. Aren't these fun? It has so much dimension, and like I said, you can always just kind of play around with them, crinkle as much or as little as you like. And let me bring the card back. This is what it looks like. when it's all done on a card. And it's just pretty. I just added a piece of cardstock, and with that, it just dresses it up so much. But I did mention that I put this hair bands or bracelets together for my niece. Did the exact same thing I just did to the flowers, just stress them, ink them up all the way around. The difference is this time I'm going to put a button through them, and I'm actually going to sew the pieces together using needle thread and a button. And because we're going through so many layers, I like to put the needle through one of the holes in the button and then just pierce through all 3 layers as I'm doing here. Then go ahead and lift it up. Go through your first layer, second, and then your last one. And then just thread your needle through. And now bring the button at this point and just go in and out through the first hole and then the second, and then just bring it down as close to that edge. And here is fine. You can put it, bring it down to the mat if you want again, but I'm just kind of doing it in the air and just putting the second hole through that. And you're going to do this about, I would say, 3 or 4 times just to make sure you have a secure, you secure that button as good as possible. And I'm just kind of going through this same hole so that I don't make, a bunch of holes. The difference here is that we're working with paper, not fabric. So after I've done it 3 or 4 times, I'm going to go ahead and get that band. And again, this is just like a ponytail band that you would get at your local store, hair supply store, or even drugstore sells them, I believe. And I'm just going to attach it with a couple of stitches, basically, and try to loop it around. I've actually had my niece wear this a couple of days, and she's just turning 2, and she's actually done a pretty good job of, you know, taking it off, putting it back on, taking it off, putting it back on, and it's held its own. So it still looks pretty good. So if it was able to pass a test of her, I'm sure you're having it in your hair, your daughter's hair, or niece's hair, it should be fine. So I'm giving them to the girls on Saturday. So hopefully they'll love it as much as I love making it for them. So anyway, so here I am, just kind of, like I said, a couple of different just kind of threading it about 3 or 4 times, and then I'm just going to start the knotting process to make sure it stays secure. Kind of just go through all those layers that I just did. First knot, and then add one more. Now I'm using white because I wanted white thread to show in the front. You can use black if you'd like, but I just thought white added a little something. And since this is either going to be in the wrist or in their hair, you won't be able to see it, so it should work out just fine. And then just go ahead and cut it off. And with that, you are done. It's ready for them to put it on their little wrist, as such, or like I said, on their hair. It's just something fun for them to have. And even something they can even create, if they're old enough to do so. Obviously, my niece can't, but the older ones could. So anyway, so here's just 2 examples of what you can do with this die. Really fun. Again, it's from Spellbinders. These are Blossom dies, and hope you have fun making them. Thank you so much for joining me.